Welcome. Before we start, I'd like to say that if I use some words in this video that you do not understand, please hit the pause button and look them up in your dictionary. Today we're discussing the present simple. The present simple is one of the most basic or simple tenses we know in English. We use the present simple for 4 different kinds of sentences. My question to you is, can you figure out what types? Let's take a look at some examples. I always walk the dog when I get home. The sun rises in the east. He thinks that film should win an Oscar. The bus leaves in 12 minutes. Let's take another look at the first category. I always walk the dog when I get home. He never fails to surprise us. They sometimes sneak out. What do these sentences have in common? Well, they tell us how often somebody does something. You'll see words like always, never, and sometimes. We call this type of sentences routines. Moving on to our second category. The sun rises in the east. These jeans are blue. Speakers produce sound. What kind of sentences are we working with here? Are they routines? No. Are they opinions? No. These sentences state facts. The third category. Our first example sentence in this category was, he thinks that film should win an Oscar. Some other example sentences are, they love going to the theatre. I don't like dogs. What do these sentences have in common? They all tell us how the subjects feel or think about something. Take a look at the verbs thinks, love, and don't like. And then our last category. The first example sentence was, the bus leaves in 12 minutes. Other example sentences are, our plane departs in half an hour, and class starts at 8:20. What is it we're trying to say when using these sentences? Well, they tell us about scheduled events, when something starts, ends, or how long it takes. Okay, so now we know when to use it, but we also need to know how to use it. For the pronouns I, you, we, and they, we use the shortest form of the verb. For example, jump, sing, walk, and run. For she, he, and it, we need to add an S to the verb. So jump becomes jumps, sing becomes sings, walk becomes walks, and run becomes runs. I jump, she jumps. What makes this tense a bit tricky are questions and negative sentences. If we want to make a sentence negative, we need an extra word. For I, you, we, and they, that extra word is don't. For she, he, and it, we use doesn't. Now, if we make an I, you, we, or they sentence negative, nothing really changes. I always drive to work becomes I don't always drive to work. When turning a he, she, it sentence into a negative sentence, things get slightly more complicated. He always drives to work becomes he doesn't always drive to work. Please note that the S behind drive has disappeared. When turning a positive sentence into a question, we also need an extra word. For I, you, we, and they, that extra word is do. For he, she, and it, it's does. I always drive to work becomes do I always drive to work? The S-ting for he, she, and it works the same way as it does with negative sentences. So, he always drives to work becomes does he always drive to work? Again, note that the S in drives has disappeared. That was it for today. Thanks for watching.